Donald Trump isn't president anymore. He might not even run for president again. So why are we still talking about him? And why is he still defining contemporary politics? Hello there, you 5.6 million awakening wonders. I'm so happy that you are with us on this voyage to truth together. Let us cultivate the light within ourselves. Let's cultivate the connections between us. Let's see what can grow out of this movement where people become more bold about speaking freely, open to new alliances, open to new conditions. If you want to come and see me live, you can. I'm performing in Glasgow. There's a few tickets left there. I'm in Blackpool. Have a look there's a link in the description. Anyway, just come and see me. It's not important. I also want you to sign up to my mailing list so I can communicate with you directly in case I do anything mad and unusual. So I'll be putting that up at the end. Now, let's talk about Donald Trump. Of course, he recently did that interview with Piers Morgan. Do you think that ending bit was faked? Do you think it's like a media stunt? Did you hear that leaked bit of audio where it sounds like they sort of ended convivially? More importantly, though, than this one conversation, although that's a gifted interviewer and a very interesting and exciting orator in communion together, both of whom cause a great deal of controversy, but then so do I. Who's free from controversy in this world? What I'm interested in is, what does Trump represent? How do we view Trump now? Do you want Trump to run again? Do you see America as a better place with Trump at the helm? Do you think that Trump would handle the Ukrainian conflict differently? Or do you just enjoy Trump because he says mad stuff? Because that's where I land on all this.
He uses the N-word, the nuclear word, all the time.
What Trump's got is a gift for saying stuff that's a bit mad and interesting. He uses the N-word, the nuclear word. Like, he's playing oratory games, isn't he? Playing rhetorical games right now. He's being interesting. The people that dislike Trump, I don't understand why they can't see what he does brilliantly. That's what's always confused me. But then I suppose I shouldn't be confused because I was one of those people. When he announced the first time, I'm going to be president, I was like, no, you won't. You're mental, mate. No one's having you as president, but he was right about that because he was president.
That's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. He uses it on a daily basis. And everybody's so afraid, so afraid. And as they're afraid, he uses it more and more. That's why he's doing the kind of things he's doing. He's doing them because he thinks nobody's going to ever attack us because they're all stupid and they're afraid to talk about it.
I totally agree with you.
One of the things you have to say about Donald Trump is he understands primitive dynamics expertly, i.e. alpha posturing. Because basically what Donald Trump's saying is, this wouldn't be happening if I was president, I'd kick that geezer's head in. But how is that so effective?
Biden's saying, oh, he's got nuclear weapons. He keeps saying he's got nuclear. We have better weapons. We have the greatest submarine power in history.
So what would you say and do?
I would say we have far more than you do, far more powerful than you, and you can't use that word ever again.
Is it possible that geopolitics can be reduced to this? Like superpowers, or at least a former superpower and a current one, talking about the most significant conflict currently happening in a way that's sort of so identifiable and recognizable. Is it really that simple? You go, listen, you might have nuclear weapons, mate, but we've got more nuclear weapons. You keep mouthing off, we'll do you. Like no different from school. All political life is still an expression of the palette of emotions that human beings experience, isn't it? Like, what is late corporate capitalism? Greed, like greed, fear, desire. It's all going to be drawn from that palette. There aren't new emotions. There's not new phenomena. They're not feeling things from different dimensions when it comes to elite politics and elite corporate political pacts, are they? So perhaps what Donald Trump does is acts as a kind of cipher of simplification that we all sort of somehow appreciate because of the obfuscation and opacity of modern politicians.
You cannot use the nuclear word ever again. And if you do, we're going to have problems.
Trump is like a culture hack, a circuit jam. We're so used to the dissonance of what politicians say and then what they do. They say all of this stuff and then we know they've got them foundations and they're trading in Congress and they own stocks in this, and none of it makes sense. So when this person comes along and just goes, yeah, well, we got better berms, everything seems to go like that. He pulls things madly into alignment. It's a version of truth. We're so accustomed to the disparity, the disjunct between what they say and what they do, that when someone sort of mashes that together, it's startling. And I think the people that dislike Trump don't acknowledge that. You know, like, of course, I don't agree with Donald Trump on so many things. He's ultimately a billionaire capitalist that said some really, really crazy, outlandish stuff. But there are loads of things in terms of his rhetoric, his ability to communicate, his diagnosis of contemporary American political life, his clarity. That you have to say, well, this dude, what? Who are you bringing in as the alternative? And by the way, by the time we arrived at Trump, we'd been through that, you know, the spike of optimism of people like Tony Blair. Oh, this guy's good. He's young. He's going to be really good. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. He's just done a war. Right. He's useless. Oh, but Obama, he's good. Oh, no. Oh, shit. No, he's just done the same things. But Hillary Clinton, a woman one? Will that work? No, it doesn't make any difference. Like shuffling around the kind of demographic differences around age and race and gender doesn't mean anything in that sphere. People focus too much on Trump rather than the causes of Trump. What facilitated Trump's rise? A total lack of trust in political figures, a political landscape that was devoid of integrity, no political party that was representative of ordinary people, and because none of those things are going to be addressed because of entrenched establishment corruption in all parties, it's easier to just go, I don't like Trump, he's a sexist, or whatever you want to say Trump, but he actually isn't meaningfully worse than any of the people that you're presenting as an alternative, and he is observably better at doing the things that are important, i.e. being on the television, connecting with ordinary people. There's your Trump phenomenon.
When you were talking to Putin, when you were president and he was talking about potentially invading Ukraine, that you threatened him with your nuclear capability.
I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
I threatened him like he's never been threatened before. Trump's certainty is appealing, isn't it? You don't know what threats, like Putin, he was in the KGB, he must have had some crazy shit in his life.
You threatened to use nuclear weapons.
I don't want to say that. I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
Who speaks like that? Like Churchill? Like, who says stuff like, I threatened him like he's never been threatened before? Essentially, he's appealing to something that there is a need for. There is a need for. Look at how complex your own life is. Look how much uncertainty there is from the decisions you make about what you eat, to how you conduct yourself in a relationship, to the ongoing doubts about evolving social lexicons, to your uncertainty about political figures, the fact that no one in the political landscape is presenting you with a new vision, saying this is how we could organise society, this is how we're going to run things, I know what I'm doing, don't be frightened. No one's talking like that. So Donald Trump at least is ticking one significant box. There's an archetypal charge to somebody else. I threatened him like he's never been threatened before. You can go to bed and relax now. Oh, thank you. I'll see you in the morning. I'll get in as well. I'm just going to put my hairnet on.
I think potentially, look, you know, if these people aren't smart, and they're not.
If these people aren't smart, and they're not. What we're watching here is two people that really understand media, two collaborators in creating spectacle. Piers Morgan understands media like few people on the planet. Donald Trump understands media like few people on the planet. Here they are together, engaged in this wonderful piece of theatre, talking about like nuclear wars and stuff like that. It's mad, isn't it? Because in a sense, right, like, we're talking about aesthetics anyway. Like, are all the people that are doing all the, flags, like, are they really any more integrally connected to the reality of people in Ukraine, bombed and desperate and baffled? Not really. Just like it's the pose, the aesthetic, the dance is based on sort of sympathy and apparent sophisticated, nuanced compassion. Whereas this dude and Piers there, it's much more, yeah, come on, let's have it. And the fact is that sort of professional class piety that's not rooted in the kind of compassion that requires, demands, in fact, sacrifice, is just artificially different, aesthetically different, not meaningfully different.
Our leaders are not smart. If they're not smart, you're going to end up in a nuclear war.
Trump cannot become irrelevant unless you make Trump irrelevant. You cannot nullify Trump and Trump's rhetoric unless you have political parties and political leaders that behave with absolute integrity and authenticity, that are willing to say, for example, not have pundits on CNN that are former military advisors that currently work for Lockheed Martin. As long as you know that there are Congress people that have investments in Raytheon and firms that make weapons, as long as you know that the media secretly enjoy wars because it improves ratings, as long as all those things are true, as long as there's a great deal of complexity about Biden and Biden's family's relationships in big business, some of which are, Ukrainian, some of which are Chinese, as long as all these questions are out there, you are going to require the simplicity, the vivacity, the bombast of a figure like Trump, who at least provides something real. Even if it's just a better type of illusion. I'm obviously uncertain about their effectiveness, and my personal opinion, he was president for a while. The world didn't really change in any way that was sort of significant. So both sides should take that on board. Like, if you really, really hate Trump, well, what changed? If you really, really like Trump, what changed? What is true, though, is that the problem of Trump remains the same problem. It isn't Trump at all. It's the context. It's an establishment that has no political integrity, that has no political teleology, that has no vision, has no meaning, because essentially his diagnosis is correct. They're corrupt. They're only in it for the money. No one's got any authentic care for ordinary people. And as long as those things remain true, then Trump will remain a viable alternative.
This is just the beginning. This is the beginning, and I've been the best predictor of things ever. Now,
where does that claim come from Donald Trump? Yeah, I'm the best predictor of things ever. Here's a chart, is there, of the predictors of things that have been in the past. Nostradamus there, like machines that predict outcomes, data optics for athlete performances, all these different meteorological systems, predictors of things. Up there at the top, Donald Trump. How long does this list go back? That covers always.
I confronted Kim Jong-un.
It just sounds so cool. Like, people saying that. Like, that's sort of what you feel like a president should be. It's a child's drawing of a president come to life.
He said, I have a red button on my desk, meaning a nuclear button. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but it's bigger and stronger than yours, and mine works.
It's difficult not to see that as sort of phallic male posturing. Is there an actual red button? I mean, like, the size of the button wouldn't really matter. Look at this, bloody hell. Boom! It's more what the button ultimately does when you press it. It could be like a mouse's button that you could do with your little finger, as long as it creates a nuclear explosion. That is not a euphemism. But so observe the effectiveness: bigger, stronger, bigger dick, harder, bigger fist, more willing to have a fight. But like elsewhere in the conversation, before you condemn Trump, say, oh, what an idiot. Like, well, what are they saying elsewhere? Deliberately confusing. We did this with NATO. We have these interests. We inspired that coup. Some guy coming out saying, I've got a big red button on my desk. Oh my hell, that sounds like a simple solution. It's stuff that would happen if there was a war on Sesame Street.
Very proud of what we did. I saved worldwide tens of millions of lives.
It's another amazing claim, isn't it? Again, it's interesting because a lot of people on both sides want Trump to be a kind of overt anti-vaxxer, but he ain't an anti-vaxxer, because an important part of his legacy was the creation of, heard him say in his incomparable style, he saved tens of millions of lives. Now, I know a lot of like anti-establishment people are anti-vaccine, or at least anti-mandate. So that's another interesting part of the Trump narrative. My opinion is, before overtly condemning Trump, get your own house in order.
I haven't mentioned...
That's it.
No, yeah.
Last question 4 times.
No, I realise that. I realise I'm not lying.
Very dissent.
I just haven't asked you
You're
about...
You're very dissent. This was a 20-minute interview.
Oh, sorry.
Listen, this was a 20-minute interview.
Don't you think?
I think it's fine. It's fine.
What that is an interview between two sort of masters of the medium. So whatever you think of the medium, these are people that know how to operate within it expertly. And the reason we have a requirement for them is because elsewhere there is so much opacity and undue complexity that's usually connected to disingenuity rather than, oh, look, the world's complicated. Of course, the world's bloody complicated. Of course, truth is complicated. But I feel that many political figures and media operators enhance and amplify the complexity, not in order to give you a better depiction of reality, but to obscure reality altogether. And one thing Donald Trump seems to do is pierce that with a kind of rhetorical brutality and bombast that's appealing in a landscape that's otherwise just feels like some nitpicky stew of bureaucratic claptrap.
Congratulations on the Holy One.
All right, thank you very much.
And thank you for a great interview.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Turn the camera off.
I often think when people condemn Donald Trump, Where is your platform to condemn him from? Because it seems to me sometimes that Donald Trump is simply better at doing what they all do. They all strip away complexity, but they don't do it with so much easy charm and apparent wit. None of them are offering nutrition, a real vision of a better world, genuine solutions to the problems that affect your life, a willingness to confront the complexity and apparent opposition of the polarity of progressivism versus traditionalism. They just pick a side and sling mud at the other side. As long as no one's offering a realistic alternative, an alternative that will make your life better, my life better, our communities better, the planet better, better world for our children, better world for our elders, respect, tradition, the ability to be who you are. As long as no media-based, political-based, corporate-based offers us anything like that, Trump's simplicity, his rhetorical ability will remain appealing. And in my opinion, no one's got any right to condemn Donald Trump unless they're coming from a place of integrity. And in the whole political landscape, I don't see it anywhere. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at one of these two. And remember, sign up to my mailing list so I can communicate with you directly. Please subscribe to this channel if you don't subscribe already, and turn on the notification bell if you can. More important than any of that, please stay free.